Grownish, smartish, British.
We are British, apparently. Uh-huh.
First things first.
Don't. Eyes up.
I don't care. You acted like that sounds very inappropriate, by the way. just for that reason, you got to do what you got to do. Can you please show people your cracks and how that you managed to get from A to B in the rain that we went through?
Okay, before we show his, can we show mine for
There you
comparison? Because they're very
dusty
and muddy. I've walked
Probably the
in
same
the rain.
distance.
Yeah, probably the same distance.
No, where's the train station?
I don't know. It's like 5 minutes walk
I
away.
just walked across the road with an
Okay, but
umbrella.
can we
With an umbrella.
Show them your trainers, please.
They're
Beautiful.
All right, can we listen, someone's watching it right now asking,
sorry.
wait, what are these? Can you please break down what kicks they are? Because I know when it comes to Jordans, you're a pro. What type of Jordans are they?
Jordan 6. They're I think they're called
I think,
lava green or something like this. I don't know, green something.
green something. Okay.
But here's the thing. I know about these because I've watched videos of Michael get down in these. So that's why
So is he like, I won't say a role model, but does he inspire you?
I just like what he's done on the court. That's all.
Can I ask how you walked? Did you
Normally.
actually like
Normal.
bend your foot in the?
Yeah, no.
You
I
sure?
don't-
There's no creases on there.
I don't put.
You don't move, make your
You
feet
don't
like this.
You don't walk like
You're
this.
walking.
No. I don't
Okay.
put any insoles or shields or anything because, first of all, the foundation of your entire body is your feet.
Yeah.
So if you start walking crooked, something else will break further up the line. So if I would rather my shoes be completely messed up than
Yeah.
my frame and my body. So take the shoes. I don't care.
So the real truth is, the reason why his trainers are so immaculate, he actually
You
jumped
walked
on my
here in
back.
his socks.
No. Biggie pants.
These have just come out today. So,
No, we know they're
so
fresh.
they're fine.
But that's why I was like, this is brave wearing them out on a rainy day.
I didn't realize it was going to rain.
Okay.
When I left my house, it was sunny and it was all right.
Listen, luckily I had a hoodie in my car.
You need to get an umbrella.
I have a
I do, but it's just
You
currently
do.
sitting in my other car.
Oi, boiling.
Company car.
Boiling.
How? Is that boiling?
Have
Have I made it?
Your company
Yeah.
has
Have I made it?
given you a
a
car,
car to
to
use
lease
at their expense.
and you're saying that's boiling.
For work purposes.
Yeah, but it's at their expense.
Exactly, that's boiling.
So I've made it. So I've made it. I've made it.
Ask your friends.
Listen,
who
I don't
have
even get a
company car.
travel card. I have to I have to pay for that myself.
There you go.
I mean, luckily for COVID, you don't have to worry about a
I
travel
don't have to worry too much, no.
There you
All right,
go.
so guys, before we start our topic, we're going to do some would you rathers. Would you rather sit all day or stand all day?
I said stand.
I agree with Ben.
Why?
Why are you sitting?
Because I can enjoy myself. I can sit down, I can adjust, put my legs up, put my legs down, cross leg. I can do anything I want. I can lie down.
You said sit, not lie.
Yeah, but it's either sit or stand. So with sit, my back can be lowered back. My bum will still be in the same position, technically.
I take standing still
But why?
because I can walk, I can jog, I can.
That's tiring.
For you,
Have you worked in retail? We met in retail.
Yeah,
We stood all day
I know.
Yeah.
for hours.
If you got the right shoes.
When you have the choice to stand, I'd rather stand. When it's imposed on you, then no. But I'd rather stand. But I fidget a lot. So even when I'm sitting, I'm constantly bouncing my leg, fidgeting, just making up noise.
Tricky. Would you rather sit or stand all day? See? It's the same way he's chilling right now.
Yeah.
Because standing's gonna hurt all day. I don't know who would want to stand all
Stand is not going to
These
hurt.
two people.
No, standing. Definitely standing.
All right.
Yeah.
So would you rather be too hot or too cold? Based on what's happened in the studio, you would rather be too cold, right?
I'd actually prefer to be too hot. I don't do well in the cold.
Nah, mate.
I'm a lizard.
Sweating.
Yeah, I'd pick that any day over shivering. When I'm hunched over shivering, trying to keep warm and my back aches.
Bro, you can
from,
put on
like-
layers.
Yeah, but when the
take
chill's in your bones.
You can take off layers.
Yeah, yesterday I was close to naked and I was still sweating. No, literally, it was peak last night because it was raining, so you couldn't crack open a window. So you just had to.
Did.
No, cause I was sleeping
yours
in a
will
loft.
come. Yeah,
So if I open it,
it's just gonna leak in.
it's just a waterfall.
No, I'd rather be too hot.
All right, Last one. Would you rather have no fingers or no eyes?
Hey?
What the heck?
Hey?
That's not even.
Repeat
No,
the,
no
things to do with fingers.
repeat
or
the
no
question.
eyes.
No fingers or no eyes.
You know that Anthony Martial meme? Eh? Can you repeat the question? No.
Would you have no fingers, no eyes?
What?
It's a question. There's no ifs and buts or variables. Fingers, eyes.
I'll take no fingers.
But then you can't do anything.
That's not true. I saw a man yesterday plow his field with both arms gone. He used his feet to do everything.
It doesn't say anything about thumbs,
Wait, I'm
so
trying-
I will
But
pick
if you
no
fly-
Oh,
fingers.
don't be techie with it.
No, but think about it.
You're that person. How many fingers do you have? Actually,
We have 8 fingers and 2 thumbs.
But if you have your fingers are gone, you can still use your arms. You've got arms.
Yeah.
You've got an armpit. You can still get around. You'll find a way.
So
I saw a mum on Instagram look after her daughter with just feet. She was
What videos
she was
do you
feeding.
watch?
She,
Limbless people.
no, but she was feeding her child. She opened a bottle.
Just to make you feel better about yourself.
No, just it makes me appreciate what I have.
oh god,
All right, say no more.
Got good.
what would you lose? What would rather
I
lose your
actually
fingers
don't-
or your eyes?
I think I'd rather probably my fingers.
I'm about to say.
Yeah,
You want to wake up and see your children and your parents and everyone every day.
Yeah,
I want to lose that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sight is yeah, you can't get rid of sight.
All right. So, growing up British is what we're about. So for those who don't know what growing up British is and why we started this podcast, because people ask me, they're like, "Oh, British." I'm like, no. Take a minute. British. So British is about us being third culture kids who are basically from somewhere but born in another country. So I'm from Egypt and Sudan, but I'm born and raised in the UK. You are?
well, my family are from Bangladesh. I was born and raised in the UK.
I'm confused.
What do you mean?
No, I'm joking.
Wow.
I mean, you probably are quite confused. Like you live in Reading, so yeah.
Second,
I'm just putting it out there. You're no longer a Londoner.
why you
you're a
keep
writer.
saying my geographical location?
No one's going to pull up to your yard. No one cares enough unless they want your Jordans.
I'm second generation Nigerian.
All right, cool.
Does that mean your parents
Came here first.
came here first?
Yes.
Or your parents were born here first?
So it means my parents came here and then I was born here.
Yeah.
That's what, because we were
That's
confused,
what we were
weren't we?
confused about this.
First-
'Cause
go on.
first gen,
First gen is the one that came.
came, yeah,
Second gen is the children.
that are
Yeah.
born out of it.
Born
yeah.
out of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So my dad came here.
I think a lot of Caribbeans are like third and fourth generations. And I think it's usually the African continents and the Middle East that are usually like first and second generations
Yeah.
as
It
far as history.
depends. I think it depends because, like, a lot of, like you said, a lot of Caribbean people, but also a lot of Indian families as well, have
That's
been here for a
true.
really long time.
You guys
but
took
I'm
over,
sure-
like, not you guys, but
You guys,
they,
you know.
they took over. I'm ignorant.
Generalisation.
I'm ignorant.
and
but
this
as
is
in-
why we're called Growing Up British.
Yeah, so basically we're all from different backgrounds,
Yeah.
different faiths. And then when we're here, we're reminded every now and then we're not British. But then when we go back home, we're foreign. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're a foreigner."
Yeah.
It's like, no, but I'm Egyptian. No, you're not.
You're Londony.
You're Londony, as they say.
As they say in Bangladesh.
Is there a word back home for like someone who's from London? Rich money,
Basically.
dollar.
Just
Yeah, yeah.
and my
Hand out.
my response is my fish.
This,
My
Would you-
fish.
your fish.
My fish for loose.
My fish.
This
Oh.
one.
So mafish means he doesn't have any mullah. He's got nothing.
I speak small Arabic.
So does it happen with you guys?
Sorry, wait, what?
He
Is
speaks
this good? We're going to go back to last episode when he
What's it?
tried to say that town's name.
Zamalek.
So for those who don't know, last week Ben decided to let us know that he visited Egypt, but he visited Zamalek. It's called Zamalek. And he decided to make it as British as possible.
To be fair, I am not Egyptian. I
Don't go to the
speak
country if you can't
any.
enunciate properly.
That's not fair. That means that we would visit nowhere.
That's true.
If I can't pronounce the country, no, I don't believe in that. If anything, I want to go to the countries that I can't pronounce, so I can introduce myself to the
No,
culture.
I'll be too intimidated to even ask for the
Nah, come on.
location. I'll be like,
I went-
Alpha Bravo. I'll just...
I went to Zamalek. Is that
God's sake, Zamalek.
Zamalek. I went to Egypt,
You
man.
went there. Went to that place.
I went to the place there, and yeah, it was all around.
Were they kind to you?
Yes. What?
Was any positive racism out there?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't engulfed, or I didn't go into I wasn't there in the cities enough. So for me, when I'm working in a place, it's literally office and then the hotel, and maybe I'll get taken out for a dinner or something like that.
This
But
guy,
it's
you
not.
thought I made it with a company car. My guy's been driven from. Well, you're being flown from country to country
It's a
and
job.
dinner to dinner.
But I'm not paying for it. It's the company that wants the skills that I just have. So
What skills do you have?
I'm a consultant. Let's say that. I was a consultant, not anymore.
Okay, say no more.
So yeah.
So I want to know, when you go back home, do you ever come back with less items?
Oh yeah, if they could, they take the clothes off your back, the clothes that you're wearing off your back.
How do you manage? Have you ever said no to something that you really didn't want to give away?
When I was a kid, yeah, because there was this denim jacket. I loved it.
Yeah.
My favorite denim jacket, and my mum was like, "Give it to your cousin." I cried.
I've given away kicks. I've given away GHDs. I've given away clothing.
Well, the hair straighteners.
Yeah.
Bruh, they ain't cheap. They just go, but you're from London. You can afford it. And I'm just like, I'm broke.
No.
There is a perception that
Money grows on trees in London.
if you're able to afford to be able to either grow up and live in London, that you have more money than them.
Than these rich kids living in Egypt, in Zamalek.
Well, maybe. I don't know. They're your cousins now. Ask them.
What's the one item? I don't know if you've ever given away something back home, but have you ever given away any
Many.
items? What's the one that hurt the most?
There wasn't one that hurt. It was just. So I had. There were like these fly net running trainers, and they were super light. And I purposely bought them because I was going to a hot country. I didn't want anything heavy. But as soon as one of my family friends saw it, and he just kept on looking at it, I was just like, I'll just take the sandals out of my bag, and you could just. I literally took them off my feet and just gave it to him.
Yeah.
Let's just
Wait,
take
even
it.
the right shoe size?
Does he care?
No.
I will
He'll
grab my
find
toes
a
like
way,
this.
yeah.
Does he care?
I will walk like this. If it
Or
means
if
I
it's
look
too
fly.
big, I'll stuff the front with cotton.
That's easy though. But when your
Yeah.
feet are too
Just
too
take
heavy.
them.
Yeah.
Just give them to them.
What size feet
Yeah.
are you?
11.
So the likelihood is they're probably too big.
Potentially.
Nothing newspaper can't fix.
Yeah, enough. But my perception is if he likes them that much and
Yeah.
he's looking at them, just take them.
Yeah.
I'm fortunately in a position where I'm able to, if I wanted to get some more, I'll get some more.
So I strategically switched up my game. I no longer go with any good stuff I want. Everything's Primark and everything's like rundown stuff. So I'm anticipating for them to want my clothing and I can get rid of it because it's almost like me. Do you know when you're about to recycle your clothes or give it charity? So I'd do that. So I'll go with that kind of gum. I'll hide everything else that's going to go in like for the second holiday.
Yeah.
And I'll rock the other stuff. And when they be like, oh, can I have it? I'll be like, okay.
So hold on, wait.
So
You
strategically,
take 2 holidays. So you
so
go
like
and see the
if I'm
family.
going to Cairo,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
You go to see the family, then the real holiday.
Then
Yeah.
that's a whole different suitcase. They don't get
That
to see
stays
that.
locked.
Yeah.
It never
That didn't
gets
exist.
open.
That didn't exist.
Yeah.
That's in the second compartment. So you just,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
No. They can't. I can't do it anymore. Like I'm actually not rich.
When
They're
was the
richer
last
than us.
time you went?
3 years ago.
Okay.
And then what I did this time around, I literally went to my holiday first,
Yeah.
and then did a little flying visit on the way just before the airport, like a couple of days before.
And what's the vibe like when you get there? Is everyone trying to see you, or is it
Yeah.
you
I
have to go out and see other people?
No, they want to see me. They make me feel guilty, but then I got to go out my way to see them. So they're like, oh, how can you come to Egypt and not come see us? And I'm like, all right, cool, I'm here now. Oh, can you come visit? Jump in an Uber. And I'm just-
Yeah. Them Ubers out in
but
Egypt.
Ubers are cheap, man. I'm going to do it. I don't care.
Ubers out in Egypt. Them man come quick, bruv. Jeez.
But they bumped you, innit? They tried to give
Who? Bump who? Hey, relax.
Wasn't it you? They asked for cash.
Yeah.
What?
The whole
That never
conversation about
happened.
Zamalek.
That never
Zamalek.
happened to Ben. That never happened to Ben.
All right, so back to the point. We digress. So obviously going back home, we're foreign, and then you come back to the UK, and people go, "Oh, so where are you originally from?"
Yeah.
Now I found out the other day you're that flaky person who goes, "Oh, I'm British." It's like, yeah, but wait, yeah,
No,
I'm
no,
English.
I don't say British. like that.
You
As
sell
in,
out, man.
when someone asks me, where are you from? My automatic reaction is to just say, oh yeah, East London.
Brethren.
What's
But
wrong
it's
with
not,
that?
it's
But what's
not
wrong
because
with
I'm
that?
Oh, you're
selling
that guy
out.
too.
But what's wrong? No, tell me what's wrong with that.
So when someone asks where you're from,
Yeah.
like where you're originally from, when they word it in
Who
that
is
way,
asking me?
it's usually like your colleague or someone who, I don't know, someone that you just like encountered who's curious to your heritage, right?
You know who asked me where am I from? It's other Nigerian people, and I'm just looking at them. Is you see my last name? You know where I'm from.
Oh, that's different. They're trying to figure out like maybe
What
Maybe
tribe?
I know
What tribe am
someone.
I from?
Yeah.
Like, I'm from the. And we both know we're both Yoruba. There's no. Just what's the problem? It's fine. But
no beef.
they just need to know that I'm from the same areas. Just like I know. It's
No,
fine.
so I get like English people asking me, oh, so where are you originally from?
Not me.
No,
So-
okay, but when they
Yeah,
say,
do you know
when
why?
they
Because there's a sensitivity around black people where they don't want to ask the question. They don't know how to. So it's the whole unconscious bias of like overthinking and overcalculating to the point where they're too afraid to ask questions. So, and I've had to teach people at my workplace. And one of the questions is I'm too scared to ask, you know, where someone's from in case they get offended.
But if you're asking someone quite a direct question, as in where do your family originally come from, or where are you originally from, I'm happy to answer that question. But if you're going, where are you from?
Yeah.
That's too vague. So I'm gonna give you a vague answer.
Fair enough.
So I say East London. I'm
say
from East London.
The truth. Where are you from?
Pudding.
North London. Can you stop?
You're not from North London.
Listen.
It's been several years. You're no longer a Londoner.
Your
Let
citizenship
it
has
go.
changed.
Can I tell you this right now? My passport says born in London. My birth certificate says born. I was born in Whittington Hospital.
Where?
Whittington,
Where is this?
exactly. Archway, past Arch, up them ways.
Oh, okay, west.
North,
North.
far north.
Wow. Oh.
Up
North.
is the key.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when someone asks me where I'm from, I'm so gassed quickly to say like my heritage because I'm quite proud. Like I'm just like, oh, Egypt and Sudan. They're like, oh no, like what ends you from? I'm like, oh, shame.
See what I mean?
But I don't mind. But because the next thing I don't want to hear is, oh no, where are you originally from? And I've had the conversation with this lady. She was Asian, and I said to her, oh, where are you from? And she's like, oh, I'm from East London. It could have been you know.
Could have been me. Might have been me.
But she had a bit of an accent. Do you have an accent?
Do I have an accent? Someone
Just an East
do I have
London
a-
accent. Does she have an
think-
accent?
I think I have the East London accent, but not the. I know which accent you're talking about.
Do you know like they're born and bred here, but they still have an accent?
The Tower Hamlets accent.
Like I'm from Dording. Like why? Just say I'm from Tooting. Like you're a Londoner fully. Do you know what I mean? Why are you guys? I don't understand. I'm being racist. I can't, can I?
Hey, bro, you know what you take when seeing is not a priority. You take off your glasses, you be like, "Did you actually say?"
Yeah, like
I can't look at you right now.
Won't you?
I've asked sincerely, and
No,
it's like, she's like, oh, I'm
bullshit.
from East London. I'm like, okay, cool, but I can tell obviously. So I was like, where are you originally from? Oh yeah, I'm originally from London. No, like where are you originally from? Like you know,
And
foreign.
she starts rubbing her hand.
No, I don't do this, but I've learned this with time at work when they'll be like, yeah, we're not from here. Like, you know, on the low key when
Yeah.
when we all
Like, we
when the
brown.
BAME community gathered together, they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're not from here. And then she'd be like, oh, my parents, yeah, they're from Pakistan. And I'm just like, but baby girl, you're from Pakistan. She's like, no, I'm from London. And she holds that off her chest.
Okay, so
I don't
can-
understand that.
I can explain that a little bit because of the way that I feel about it. I was born here. Most of my family are here. By most of my family, I literally mean like my immediate family, so my parents, their
Yeah.
siblings, my one set of grandparents were here. All of my nieces and nephews are here. My cousins are here. So, you know, from my mum's side of the family where her sister hasn't moved to the UK, her children have. When I the last time I visited Bangladesh was actually over 10 years ago.
Mad.
So I don't have the same pull to my home country because I consider London home. Because everyone I love, everyone I hold
But
dear
London
to
is
me
home to me as well.
Yeah.
Like,
but
with,
I think
with chess.
whereas if you ask my mum, my dad grew up here. He moved here when he was 4 or 5.
Okay.
So and my mum moved here when she was 17. So if you ask my dad, he will say most likely London's home. If you ask my mum, she's gonna say she thinks of Bangladesh as home because that's where she grew up with her memories, her family, her loved ones, everyone over there. So I think it's the perception of like where you have your family. So like family is home. So if you're a person on your own who's moved to another country,
You feel like this is an alien country.
Yeah,
to you.
this is an alien country. My family are all somewhere else. So if I moved from the UK to, I don't know, Qatar or the UAE or anywhere else around the world, I will still consider home to be London because my family are here, my siblings are here, my mum's here, everyone's here. And so for me, the connection to Bangladesh is, I originate from there. My family come from there. And I'm not denying that. And I'm not taking that away. But I don't feel the same connection.
I don't think she held that energy. I think it's almost like she wants to disconnect from her culture.
There's
you felt like there was a bit of a...
Why?
Okay, so...
Just her energy. I don't know. It felt almost like she wasn't proud. And that's what upset me the most. I said to her, you should be proud. And also you should know your heritage because, there's medical stuff to consider when you're from a certain background.
Yeah.
There's other stuff to consider. You can't just be blind. And also, on the flip side, people will look at you and go, you're not from here. Even if you've been here and you've got generations of you being here, just by not being white, to put it bluntly, you're a foreign person.
Yeah.
To an extent, not to everyone.
Somewhat controversial opinion about South Asians and whitewashing. So obviously I'm South Asian as well. But I think there's generally been such a negative, throughout history, been such a negative impression of South Asian people in the UK, as in, obviously there's negative stereotypes about every ethnicity out there, but because of more recent historic modern history things like the 9/11 terrorist attacks and stuff like that, and the demographic that those particular individuals fit looked most like South Asian people, and so there was quite a lot of negativity towards South Asian people.
Everyone was getting it though.
Everyone was getting
Arabs,
it.
Asian. You didn't have to be Muslim. You could have been Sikh.
You could have been exactly.
With a turban,
but
getting
because you looked a certain kind of brown.
Yeah.
And you can't distinguish the differences. It was kind of like, oh no, let me try and separate myself from that.
Yeah.
Also, like, I think there's a lot of historical, even further historical things with colonialism, where if you think about Asia and how colonialism happened, and the sort of whole fair is beautiful, that kind of stuff.
But I don't think there's a little bit of
this
this generation. I think this generation not even smart enough to deep their history like that.
I think
they're just trying to fit in. Like it's
an element of trying to fit in. And I think I mentioned this once before about I sometimes get comments like, oh, you don't look Bengali. I don't know what that means. I don't know how someone can not look Bengali and look Bengali. I don't know. I think I do, but okay, fine. That's your opinion.
You look Bengali.
Yeah, I think I do. But some people say I don't. But
Confirmed.
I think in that, as I was growing up, especially through secondary school and stuff, it was almost like a defense mechanism to be ambiguous. So you can't be called racial slurs because people can't figure out what you look like. And the less sort of...
So it's like protecting your energy.
Kind of. Like that's how I viewed it anyway. So it was like when people ask the question, where are you from? I automatically assume you're asking what area of London.
That's fair enough.
And then... if you want further clarification, I just sort of think you ask a vague question, you're going to get a vague answer first off. But also, I don't know if you're interested in knowing my ethnicity. I'm thinking maybe you do just want to know where in London I grew up. So that's the assumption that I take. But generally, I think with what you're talking about, this particular person, I have to say there is a little bit of whitewashing within the South Asian community where they just need to...
I've seen it in all communities. I've seen it in Arab community. I've seen it in the black community where someone goes, no, I'm English. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. But
is that because they feel they identify... So being English, being British is a nationality?
It's
not your
ethnicity. That's what I'm saying. So I always have to remind them, you can be British. And also be proud to be wherever
your
you're
family
from.
heritage is from.
But there's also a status thing that comes along with it. So if you think about the first generation that came, their whole thing was to provide a better life for their kids. So when you're able to get here and thrive, their children, they want the best for their kids. So when their kids grow up, all their kids know, myself included, is this. We're from here. We're British. We know everything British. We're ingrained into the culture. The accent at which we speak is British.
But I'm absolutely proud to be British, though. I'm absolutely for me, I wish we were fully accepted as British because I'm actually this is, like you said, London is my home.
Yeah.
But that's not enough for me to deny where I'm from. And I think also based on what you're saying, with your family coming as a first generation, not your family personally, but you have the cultural cultural side embedded because
Yeah.
it's hard to let go of that unless the parents have gone out their way to block that because they're really like trying to give you a better life, which is absolute nonsense to me because I feel like your culture is part of who you are.
Yeah.
Surely that's still embedded. Like I don't understand why that would be like a background noise as opposed to
There are ways to tread that very, very thin line of still having that cultural value of where you've come from and also being able to be accepted and ingrained into everything that society that you are now in is going to be able to that person's going to be able to use.
Which is why we're called third culture kids, because we're embracing our heritage and our history, but we're also looking to the future in that we're in the West, we're in the UK. The culture in the UK is different to the cultures where our families came from, but we're respectful of the fact that we have different cultural customs because of where we've come from, generally speaking, in the world. But it's become merged. It's become a sort of a blended culture between us. Like we're all three of us are from different parts of the world, but we'll find similarities.
But I feel like we have created our own culture. I feel like the UK minorities, especially, even like, do you know what? Even white kids who grew up around us, we've all created a culture amongst ourselves where we all can relate to the same language. We use the same slang, the same lingo, whatever it is. We listen and eat similar foods. Like it's no longer the Asian community, the black community, the white community. It's actually, do you know what? Whoever grew up in ends.
It's just London,
Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So I think the reason, like growing up British, and I do that with chess, is because, do you know what? If we're not going to be steamed as British, we might as well just own the title British and then just go, cool, it is what it is. Because I love the fact that we can all be in one room and be very different. Because when I go back to Egypt, we don't have that. Everyone are sheeps. Everyone's got one identity. Everyone's following the same thing. You can't have difference of opinion. We can all be here and be from different backgrounds. Where in another country, it's like, no, that doesn't happen. What do you mean you're sitting with like a Christian, a Jew, and a Muslim? Oh, no. It's like we can do this here and embrace one another and respect our differences.
You also have to think about where that question is actually coming from. So who is actually asking you, where are you actually from? Where's your heritage?
Yeah.
So if the energy that you're getting from the person that's asking from it comes from where you can feel it's from a place of malice, and I would be like you, Fiz, and just be like, I'm from London.
Yeah.
What's next?
I mean, that's. Regardless of whether it's malicious or not, that's my default answer.
I'm from London. What's next? No, but where are you originally from? My mum was born in West London, and I was born here. So, what's your next question?
I understand that, and I appreciate that because you're basically taking that power and almost like kind of pissing them off by going, I know what you're trying to ask, but because you're not really doing it with chest, I'm just gonna.
But then, if it's coming from a place of genuine curiosity, then you can start saying, well, okay, my parents are from here, my dad is from there, and from my name, you should be able to guess I'm from this part and stuff like that. So it just depends on where that question is actually coming from and who's asking and the energy behind it.
I'm out of curiosity. Have any of you guys growing up, like, have you ever experienced any racism that's fairly obvious, that's stuck?
Yeah.
Do you remember an incident in particular where you're just like, wow, okay.
Yes.
Go on.
And I like feisty Fiz. She was feisty from a young age.
Little Fiz.
Little Fiz. This was back when I was in college age, sixth form, 16, 17, 18. On the area that the sixth form I went to was predominantly Asian.
Okay.
But I didn't grow up in a predominantly Asian area. It was just a slightly different area, 5 miles away. Anyway, it was fine for what it was. Didn't like it. Didn't like the school. But that's not the story. The story is on the bus from the sixth form to the local station so that I could get home. Everyone's heading in the same direction. So a lot of kids from this same school got on the bus.
Yeah.
And there's obviously previous passengers who've been on there from before. Everyone just jumps on, you all go to the top and you sit there. The bus is packed, full of kids. Loved it. That after school vibe was the best.
Listen, back seats were exciting back then. Now I was like, no way.
Just the top deck in general, because you didn't want to make all the noise downstairs.
Nah, you get screwed off.
And I just remember, like, you just took whatever seat was available. So you weren't necessarily sitting next to your friends. You just sit wherever you found a seat. And I found a seat 3 seats from the back. And there was a girl already sitting in one of the seats, and she had 2 friends sitting in the 2 seats in front of her. And I just sat next to her because it was available.
Yeah.
Minding my business, chatting to my friends across the way. Suddenly I hear a whisper. And I was like, did I hear that properly?
Come again?
Come again? This girl, white girl, by the way, unfortunately, she was like, oh, why are all these Can we swear? Are we allowed to swear?
Technically, we can. Yeah, go on.
All right. Why are all these fucking Asians on the bus? They all stink like curry, fucking packies, this, that, and the other. And I was
Actually, I'm Bengali.
no. I didn't say nothing because I was like, am I hearing this properly?
Yeah.
And she's saying it just loud enough so her friends can hear. And because I'm sitting right next to her, I heard it.
Of course.
And I was like, what do I do? And I sat, this girl was younger than me. She must have been 15 and I'm 17. And I was like, shall I fight her? Like these thoughts that go through your head.
Did you have fights? Like
in
physical
secondary
fights?
school, but not in,
I've
not
not had
in
it.
college.
I've got as far as taking off my earrings, put my hair back,
What?
and go, all right, I've never had a fight.
But you gotta have a scrap.
You
once
gotta
in
have a
life.
scrap.
You gotta once in a-
I'll scrap with my son, that's fine.
Boy.
Life
with your-
experience. I need to give him something.
Scraps with me and my brother when we were growing up are on a different level, permanent scars. But anyway,
Yeah, that's calm,
back
that's
to the
fine.
story.
Yeah.
I was just sort of waiting to see what to do, just trying to figure it out. And it got to a stop where a lot of people got off
Yeah.
and the seats emptied out a little bit. But I decided, I'm going to sit here,
You're that person.
sitting here. And then the girl goes to me, move, the seats are free. And I was like, nah, if you don't like it, you move. I heard what you said. She went quiet. Her friends turned around and faced the front. Her friends weren't saying anything. And I was like, I'm not moving.
So she didn't actually had small courage, basically.
No, like, why are you coming with that pathetic energy?
But that's like when guys, when a guy moves to you back in the day,
Yeah.
or your butters anyway.
Yeah.
Who asked you to talk to
So
me?
if you're going to be whispering just loud enough so that I'm the only person and your two friends who
No,
can hear
no,
all
say
this
it with
racist
chest, man.
nonsense,
Yeah.
and then you tell me to move, I went, nah. If I smell like curry, you're going to sit here and enjoy the curry. Marinate in the smell. And I just sat
Here's some
there,
naan bread.
and I made her feel uncomfortable. And I
Yeah.
actually got my friends to come and sit a bit closer. I was like, oh, there's a seat free here. You Asian person, come sit here. Made her really uncomfortable. And her two friends didn't back her up. And I was like, well, you can't be friends.
Because there's
then.
always that one friend that's trying to push everyone in that direction.
And do you know what made me laugh about this situation was I couldn't tell what ethnicity this girl was because she could have easily been a light-skinned Asian girl. And that's why
It could be
made me.
self-hate.
It could be
be
self-tan and stuff like that. But it really made
Nah,
me
it's a
laugh.
self-hate, as in it could be like an identity thing.
I
where
don't
she's
know
trying to
because when I
push it.
looked at her, you know, when you first get onto the bus and you just sort of plunk yourself down, you have a
Yeah.
peripheral view of someone. I just assumed. I don't know. I can't tell what ethnicity you are. I don't really care. It's a seat on the bus.
Universal.
And then when I heard her say what she heard, I did a look. I properly looked again, and I was like, "Nah, this is
Not gonna run today.
yeah, it's not gonna run today." But I had the thoughts I had. I was like, "Do I wait? Do I jump her when we get off the bus?"
Bridge,
Like,
really?
honestly, I
That's
had thoughts.
that's
I was
the-
so
yeah.
angry.
Have you had thoughts like this?
No, that's the worst thing is when an incident like that happens.
Yeah.
And
You
the
got
first
self-preparing.
thing that goes through your head is, all right, now what?
Yeah.
What's my next move?
Yeah.
Because you're not expecting it. It's just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You're literally just thinking. So what am I gonna do?
Am I going to start beef on a packed bus, basically?
Exactly.
And I was like, no. I'm so glad I was feisty but thoughtful. So I sat there and I waited and my opportunity came and I took that opportunity
good,
and I
you're
said,
good.
no.
No,
You're
you
good.
did well,
I'ma
man.
sit here.
Other
Did
girl,
well.
some girl would have just turned around and punched her in the face.
I
Yeah,
wanted
and then
to.
and then there
Wild
would have
these
been
I
an incident on
wanted
the
to.
bus,
Yeah.
and then there would have been cameras, and then your parents would have got involved in
Think back
different
then
And
they
I
didn't have
schools.
cameras.
record
Oh my
because I'm the
gosh.
Asian here and she's
You-
the white girl and
nah,
all of
they
it.
wouldn't-
It was insane. And it made me really, really angry because the top deck was full of Asian people. And there was just 3 white girls making these comments. And I was like, why am I the only one hearing this? It was
But she
insane.
whispered it enough for you to hear. They weren't
I
enough. She
think
weren't brave
she-
enough to
She
just
wasn't
blurt
brave
it.
enough to say it out
Yeah,
to me,
nah.
but she was saying it to her 2 friends who'd turned around to listen
She
to her.
weak.
She was so weak. But that really stuck with me. There were other incidents, but that one really stuck to me because it was so close, like in my
Yeah.
face at the time. And I was just like, how do I deal with this?
What about yourself, Ben?
Don't know where to start really.
From the very beginning. No, we ain't
No,
got time for that.
There's
Just one that stands
There's
out
so
where
many.
it kind of gets you vexed a little bit. So
no, there's
I want
not
emotion.
one that just stands out. It's just multiple incidents. Walking home,
yeah,
being called the N word walking home, or even where I live now, saying I need to go home. It's like,
well, even now as an adult,
a big adult, yes. I need to go home. It's like, so
are they alright?
am I going to London? Like, where would you like me to go? I'm
I
not
think
really
that's the worst frustration when someone
Oh.
says go back home. It's just like,
But
this
this
is my
is
only
my house.
home.
But it's, yeah,
I was
there's
born
a,
here,
but
fam.
there's a thing as well. Fortunately, and you could potentially say unfortunately, I've been in a position where I've been on the cusp of, you know how you had sets in schools?
Yeah.
You had bottom, middle and top set. So I was always in the upper middle set. So I was enough to be able to reach like the top set, but wasn't as smart as the top set. So I was always there. But what I always found is the friends that were in that I made in the top set were always white.
Okay.
So then, and then that transferred into university where I went to school in Wales, and I was just, there were literally in a class of, so my graduating year was probably about 200 to 300 people, and there must have been in my class 10 or 20 people that just were either black, Asian, Oriental, Chinese, or of some other ethnicity. Everyone else. So yeah, you get like being in school in Wales, you get stupid kids saying silly things like walking down with my friend, going to basketball. Stereotypical black guys going to basketball. But it was just like,
Were you eating chicken at the same time?
no, we were not.
Shame.
God.
We were in basketball. We were going to basketball, and you know, little kids about 8, 9 years old running past saying the N-word. It's like, who even teaches you that at 8,
Their
9
parents.
years old?
It's a product of environment. They,
So you
they
just
pick it up.
There's just stuff like that. At points, I remember that one vividly because my friend goes, "So we're just gonna ignore it," and I was like, "What do we do to 9 and 10-year-olds? Are we gonna beat them up?"
No.
With 20-something big man with a, how's that gonna look aesthetically?
All you needed to do was little,
It's game over.
just a little, and they would have run off.
They went past on bikes. So it was a drive-by.
It was like
so
a drive.
drive
By 9-year-olds.
by 9-year-olds. So we got caught slipping.
Oh,
So it was that.
no.
But everyone has those. Unfortunately, has those.
Have you
things.
had any?
So I went to a predominantly well, I went to a Muslim school for 11 years. So we would have fights with the boys' school opposite. But it was kind of like just typical teenage fights as opposed to like a little playful stuff that would turn into like stink bombs, that would turn into like little racial slurs or whatever, or just hate slurs. But personally, I felt like I was in the bubble. I felt like I fitted in with everyone. Personally, I felt it more with my younger sister and my mum because they wear scarves. So they'll get a lot of
Islamophobic comments.
Yeah, so
towards
whenever
them.
like an incident, like you said, 9/11 would happen or July in the UK, whatever happened, I'd always become like the security guard at home because I'm the one that doesn't look like I'm Muslim. You can't tell what I am. So when I go out, I feel like I have to go out with my mum and like guard her. My sister's been punched in her stomach.
What?
Just where she's just basically she got off a train, started walking normally. It's like a packed train. Some guy just punched her as she's walking past, just solely and like said something towards her, and just for the fact that she's wearing a headscarf. My mum's had someone take out like bacon from their sandwich and put it on her face as she's crossing the road, and I'm all because something miles and miles away by a bunch of terrorists and ignorant, stupid people that we don't agree and even remotely practice the same faith have decided to do something because like whatever they did in the name of whoever is complete bullshit because we don't believe in that. Our faith doesn't practice that. But we have to deal with the backlash of what's happening and a bunch of ignorant. It's almost like hooligans, do you know? Like it's like almost like a white redneck kind of vibe. I don't say it's a white people thing. It's just there's a certain caliber of people that just remind you of how, despite forward moving we are, we're still like 10 steps behind.
Yeah.
And it's these incidents. And I feel like in those moments, I'm fuming because I literally just want to hurt someone. But then I'm like, okay, this isn't going to help. So you have to think about the backlash. So if I do something back, or if I hear like a racial slur, or if I hear a little hate crime here and there, all I can do is defend the situation or like enlighten them. But if I kind of react based on my emotion, I'm now that Muslim person who's reacted the same way. Just by being black, you represent suddenly every black person.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like just by being Asian, you now represent, despite you only knowing your tribe or whatever it is. And that's something to be really frustrated about because you want to externalize how you feel. But then it's like, do you become like a mug and a pushover by just ignoring it or just going about your business by saying a couple of words?
Yeah.
Like it's very conflicting. But really what I want to do is go, I beg you say it again.
Yeah.
and finally have my first fight.
Yeah.
But instead...
not when you're a big adult. Do it when you're a kid. It's safety, not
but
adult.
I'm not into that.
Not an adult. No. If you want scraps, do it when you're young.
Yeah.
So a teacher can come and break it up.
Yeah. And the
This
police won't
one-
get called.
You come and do this when you're adults. Big man? No, it's a situation. Because the only person that's coming to break up is the police.
And straight away you're losing.
Exactly.
You asked a really important question earlier. Have we ever experienced positive racism?
Yeah.
I think that's going on right now.
What do you mean?
My friend goes, he's trying to look for a job. And he goes, I'm going to go for a job where they don't have any black people. I said, what?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to get a job there. I said, wait,
yeah.
what? That's what we're doing now.
100%.
Yeah.
Because diversity is everything. Every single company, since the BLM movement happened,
They're more
It's-
aware of it now.
so
as
it's always
well.
been diverse. We've always had a BAME community in every single corporate environment. There's always been the BAME, like I've always been part of it. I was a co-chair for one of them. It was a thing that we were involved in to just basically all ethnic minorities come together and we talk about everything, whether it's pay increases, whether it's about the correct way to interview people, whether it's about acknowledging certain events. Anyway, BLM happened and suddenly they pumped so much money into the situation. So they pumped money into vacancies. They've had like project managers for diversity. Like they've made a whole department.
Do they do
And
BLM and allies?
I can't remember, but
Well, they
it's no
call them
longer.
diversity allies.
But it's no longer. But it's no longer BAME, the BAME community. So obviously, they came to a point where like obviously the black community were like, well, we don't want to be called BAME because
No, never.
there's the black community issues and there's the Asian issues and the Arab issues and there's the
But
the other
yeah.
Europeans who don't feel they fit in with the white
Yeah,
community.
that's actually a really good point.
But even in for yourself, for the Asian community, there's so much complexities within that.
Yeah.
One, South Asian challenges will not be the same as West Asian challenges, will
Yeah.
not be the same as North Asian So even if you can't just lump them all together.
So I understand that, but I also felt like when I sit in a room with the BAME community, I feel like we're all sharing a common ground
Yeah.
of feeling like there isn't enough to accommodate or to be mindful of, like whether it's unconscious biasness, whether it's positive racism, whatever it is that's happening, we kind of share some sort of a little bit of foundations in
Yeah.
common.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I respect it, and I felt like there was a community vibe. Do you know what I mean? But I felt like there's no point sitting in a room with a bunch of ethnic minorities with no white people in it. I feel like when you're
That's
going to
true,
have these
agree.
conversations,
Yeah.
bring the people who don't know how to have these conversations in so they can understand where we're coming from. But yeah, now in jobs, when you come to apply, they'll have a whole paragraph saying, we want this to be as diverse of a team as possible. So therefore we encourage all diverse backgrounds to apply for this job, and they'll be taken as a prime, like they'll
As a
be
priority,
prioritized.
yeah.
It doesn't mean they'll get the job, but they'll be the first to be like going through the applications. And it's become to a point where I remember Clubhouse was a big issue that happened when one Asian girl said, "Oh, I'll take advantage of this position," and one girl said to her, "But you're not black, you don't have a right to take advantage." But they talk about the whole diverse thing in it. So she was saying, if people are throwing money at these jobs, and right now this is your time to go, well, actually, I fit the criteria, let me go for it. You're taking advantage. This is your time. Like if now, this is an opportunity for you to apply for a bigger role, and they'll listen to you automatically a bit more because of your race. It's annoying,
Yeah.
but it's also well overdue to
Yeah.
be considered almost level ground playing field. Do you know what I mean? Like, as opposed to
To have
you're
a
having
positive discrimination against you.
I'll
rather
take
than,
positive discrimination rather than me feeling I have to work 10 times harder. And maybe like arse lick Steve with drinks every single night. But do you know what I mean? But that's the
Yeah.
reality. We have to go through after
Like
work
we
drinks.
have
We have to fit in.
we have to fit into the white working
But
culture.
that happens all the time though.
What, the ass licking Steve or the drinks after work? Because I don't really want to.
But I don't want to. I go to after
Yeah.
work drink. I have to mesh with a team,
Yeah.
even though I need to go home to my son. I now have to blend in. Otherwise,
but that's a challenge that when you get to a certain age, a lot of people have.
How you
So
mean?
going to after, and I've experienced this when I was starting my career,
yeah,
and I would go to after drinks with your colleagues. Some of the older generation wouldn't be able to stay because they've got kids. So that is something that
no,
is.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So when you get there, it's like, I have a son now. I'm not going to stay until midnight because I have to go home to him.
But when you're thinking about progression and when you're thinking about fitting in with a team and you're one of the few minorities in the team, it's almost like you have to be part of that culture because the next morning they've bonded over
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
They remember
and
you,
you've
and you're that
missed out,
person.
and you're that one person who didn't come along, and so you're less likely to be invited
It's
to the
almost
next
like you're an
one.
outcast.
Yeah.
And it's not with malice, even if it's intentional, unintentional. It's just long. So you kind of feel the pressure to have to integrate a little bit, and it's just like, but can't we just do this over lunch? Like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind. Like, I'll cut my Netflix for you.
This one, you don't want to enjoy it. They
But
pay
it's
for drinks.
but the point that Hebz is
So
drink.
they
trying to
do
make.
rounds, and I'm like, firstly, I can't buy you
Hey,
guys alcohol
you
because it's
got-
haram.
you-
So I'm gonna buy you Red Bull and water. You
Okay,
can
But
pay
it's,
the
it's
mixer.
about picking activities, not all the time, but
no,
some of the
it
time
is.
Let's
that
go
are
bowling.
inclusive.
Once in a while, it is.
Yeah.
You're right,
So
you're
like, you
right.
know, if you're gonna do a team gathering of some sort, why does it have to be drinks after work? Why can it not be
At
a
lunch,
lunch? Or
yeah.
why
But
can't we
that's
have
part
a
of the
team
British
breakfast?
culture.
Well, but it's the white British culture. I'm just gonna say it out as it is.
Well, it's true,
But
and it's been adopted by a lot of people as
and
well.
But that doesn't mean
Let me just
culture
say,
changes.
hold on, wait, where's the camera? Let me just say, after drinks, invite Ben. Your uncle wants to drink, yeah? I like it. I'm just saying it, bro. I used to
But
love
do you know how?
drinks.
But if you want to
dry
go
it
for
is?
breakfast, hit up Hebz and
That
Fiz.
is actually
You
a good
know?
point, you know.
Yeah.
You could do morning breakfast.
Why can't you do a breakfast?
You could do a breakfast or a brunch.
But no
or
one to
something
pull
like-
up because they'll be like, "There's no alcohol. I'm not coming."
No, bro, you
They'll
can
just find
drink.
the Asian and Arab community sitting there.
No. Breakfast you
Poached
could
eggs
do
and
it because
avocado.
at my old workplace they used to do breakfast early.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we used to do that. So
when
we
you
prayed
go, so like Google and Facebook, they have breakfasts, so you could do breakfast. That's a good
see how he
idea.
just dropped the jobs that he did.
I never worked at Google or Facebook.
Okay.
I never worked
But
at
breakfast, let us know.
breakfast. Is
Because
alright.
imagine for me, they're like, "Oh, so what drink do you want?" I want a pint of Diet Coke, no ice. They're like, "Part with what?" I'm like, "You can throw in some lime." They're like, "Is that it?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm the cheapest date you'll have. I'm the cheapest round you'll have. So just roll with it. If you want to get me 2 pints of Diet Coke, that's cool. It saves you the second round."
Just drink water.
I mean, obviously I do.
Agua.
Oh, jeez. So you guys have obviously seen like the Tesco campaign and the Sainsbury's campaign.
Yeah.
So just to like refresh your memories, Tesco had an Asian community, Asian family having dinner
Yeah.
together. I don't know whether it's around Eid time. It was around something, either Diwali or Eid. And I'm going to be very like ignorant with that because I don't actually remember whether they've made it clear. But it was around the period of the
Yeah.
celebration.
Yeah.
Twitter went crazy. They're not British. How can they be represented? Why are we giving them a platform for this? And there was a massive
That was
backlash.
that said. That why were they giving them a platform?
Yeah,
They
like,
said this about
so much
any
stuff.
advert, any supermarket advert that had a non-white
Did you wait? You're on
family.
Twitter, right? You're
No,
Twitter
I'm not.
heavy.
I'm not too, no.
Oh, now he's retracting. I swear to God, your Twitter
I'm
finger.
First of all, no. Secondly, I just look at it just for news.
All right. So basically, when the
So,
Sainsbury's campaign
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
in Christmas, and
I
they
saw that
had
one.
obviously they had like I think it was like a
Black
3-part.
Yeah.
Caribbean.
It was a
family.
beautiful advert. It was a typical celebration at home. Every family can relate to it. It's like you had the nan, you had the kids running around, you had everyone kind of overlapping each other, reaching for food. It's a typical homey feeling.
Such a heartwarming scene.
I was like, this is nice.
I loved it.
Twitter. We need to boycott Sainsbury's.
Oh,
We
it's
need to
fine.
boycott Asda, M&S, because everyone started doing different adverts. It was like this whole diversity thing
Yeah.
because the BLM movement, again, positive racism. We had all these
Yeah.
campaigns happening, and it was because a trigger from the BLM go, we need to show support of diversity, blah, blah, blah. So you had different campaigns, different places. And people were like, we should start segregating, like,
Segregation.
segregation was mentioned in tweets. We
Yeah.
should stop going there. And then someone went, okay, so in that case, we're going back to back in the day where
Back to the
we're having an
1940s and
entrance for
50s,
white
yeah.
people and one for other. And then the reality is, where are you going to shop? If as a white, let's say I'm a white person going now, like who's so ignorant and goes, okay, I don't want to shop anymore because, brown people shop there. You can't go to the Turkish place. You can't go to your Polish restaurant. Polish shop either.
Yeah.
You can't go to the Arab shop, the Asian shop. You can't go to Sainsbury's, Asda, whoever, because they're all supporting it.
Yeah.
can't
So
get-
you want to
We
go
go
to
to
your
a farm.
farmer's market,
Can't
but all you're going to get is
Pizza.
potatoes because all of our produce is shipped from other countries.
I just find it like
It was so funny
mind-boggling.
to the point where they were like, they're going to boycott PG tips. Fam, where does tea come from? It does not grow in the
We
UK.
don't have enough. We don't
Tea
have
does
enough.
not grow there. It was so dumb. But anyway, coming
But
back to
they
yeah.
enjoy a curry though.
Oh yeah,
and a kebab.
the whitewashed curry and the whitewashed kebabs because the real genuine stuff they can't handle the spice.
Brick Lane.
Nah, that's not real genuine.
That is
stuff.
real, man.
That's not.
Brick
I'll
Lane
Take
is
it from
the-
an Asian
I'll
person.
feed you one
who's
day,
not from
Ben, then
Building.
you will see. Hebz has had my cooking.
I have.
Right.
Yeah.
I've
It was
been.
alright. Like,
Just
oh,
alright.
sorry, crap. It was amazing.
That's better.
It was a party in my mouth.
I know about curry. Trust me.
Biryani.
I've been to Hyderabad.
Look at this. He has to go there. I've travelled.
I have though.
I'm diverse.
How'd you
My
say it
travels.
though?
Hyderabad. Hyderabad.
And he just said in Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. I've been to
God's
Hyderabad. I've been to
sake.
Delhi. I've been to Pune. I've been places.
Man's well travelled.
I've been places.
I did see a post recently coming back to the racist tweets that we saw not so long ago. Someone complaining that there aren't any white middle class men on adverts anymore for things like shaving cream and
Jealous.
shampoo and shower gel and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
The comment that made it to the top and made me really, really smile because I was like, this actually is going to make people think about it. All they said was 3 words. So, ... representation matters, ? So I was like, yes, this is exactly what we're talking about when we say we're not represented in the media, so we feel like things aren't meant for us. And now that we're being represented and it's, you know, making us happy, now a whole other audience of people are going, hold on a second.
So what we need to be mindful of also is the fact that when we think of the UK, when I think of the UK, I think of the obvious cities.
yeah.
And that's where all the minorities
That's
are.
where the diversity
That's
is.
where, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where
You
white
congre-
people,
you congregate
majority of
to
people
city.
are very integrated. We're all friends. We're all neighbours. We're all cool. Obviously, racism exists. There's always an Uncle Kevin who's upset with everyone. Who's these brown people have moved into the neighbourhood and taken over the place with their noise and
Taking our jobs, taking our houses.
Uncle Kevin.
as your own benefits.
Yeah.
But we'll move.
Yeah.
But then also bear in mind there's certain places and towns where it's just predominantly white. So
Yeah.
therefore they
That's
can't
what I was-
identify with the
yeah,
advert.
I was
They
gonna
don't
say that.
Yeah, they don't see London, they don't see Manchester, they don't see
Of
Birmingham.
course, and I get that, but
So what would you do for those?
How many
for
have
those
separate regional adverts?
I would just.
but then
about
that's
to say,
that's
Yeah.
coming back down to segregation, no?
no. It's
Ignorance is
But then
bliss.
also no. But what it also
you
means
have
is it-
regional weather.
yes,
so-
you have regional weather because you have
And
that's just
regional
life.
news.
And
You have regional
What
news.
happened on this farm
But
today?
I think if we did do that, where we had regional adverts and they only showed diversity in
gonna have
diverse
hillbillies.
areas, well, we're going to end up in a situation where you're going to have pockets of diversity, which is exactly what it is now, but then raging racism in other parts because they
Yeah.
haven't been exposed
I agree.
to the diversity and they don't understand that there's little colloquial differences and stuff like that. They're just going to straight up be like, I've never seen a brown person or a black person or a mixed
And
race
that's kind of how it is in America. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have certain states where it's pure
The hillbilly
like
states.
proper hillbilly.
Yeah.
Like they have different laws,
Name
different
some.
everything.
Name some.
I don't know. I've seen them. Like, wait, I'm trying to think. There's parts of Texas. I know story, quick time. My friend moved out to Texas, and he worked in a car
Dealership.
that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
He can't tell where he's from. He's Palestinian, and a white lady came in and she wanted to buy a car, and she went, I don't want to be served by the black person. She went, because I want to be served by a white person. So you can serve me. And he's like, okay. So he started serving her, and then I think he started like speaking in his language just to sort of like call someone across the room.
Yeah.
And her face dropped, and she wrote a complaint to the manager saying, I was told I don't want a black person or anyone who's foreign, and this person served me. And they just basically kicked her out. But the fact is, that exists. And she probably lives a few miles away from
Of
where she came.
course, yeah.
And it's like, this is 2020 when it happened.
Yeah.
Or 2019. Like, COVID's a complete blur. I don't know when it started or ended. But yeah, so it exists. And so therefore, that's just a little insight to a more probably diverse part of Texas, where you have someone who comes in straight up and goes, I don't want to be served by brown people. Do you mind? Like, for what?
Speaking of
Yeah.
diversity in different areas, what do you think is going to happen now? Because before we were talking about London and the fact that we're starting to bring in laws and it's going to be voted on, that they're going to make it, I think it's not mandatory that people are now given the opportunity to work from home, meaning that people can now move out of London. So there's going to be potentially more diversity in these areas where there maybe wasn't before. So what do you think is going to happen with the people that were living in London that now can say I can move out and are of our ethnic
They're
minorities.
taking over the
Yeah,
neighborhoods.
they're taking our houses, our jobs.
But the
all
reality
of this.
is, property prices are much cheaper outside London.
Yeah.
Already, all the estates are being knocked down. People are being moved out. No one's
Yeah.
being offered anything in London because it's way too expensive.
That's from inside and out.
Yeah. I work
And that's
in
been
housing,
going
like,
on
it's
for a long
unaffordable.
time. It's not a recent thing
Yeah.
where they're redeveloping an estate and moving people out. And by moving people out, they're not just moving them to the next borough. They're moving them from, like, let's say Newham out to the outskirts of Enfield or further out into Romford or
She said
something.
Enfield, like that's far.
No, but even
Like,
further out.
as in like
There's people
further ahead, like Hertford.
And if
all
you're
of them
waiting in
areas.
accommodation, some people their temporary accommodation goes from London to like Manchester or
Yeah.
somewhere, and you have to take it, otherwise you're declaring yourself intentionally homeless.
Yeah.
There's levels to this.
And this has been going on for years. It's not a recent thing. So people moving out of London, maybe it will help alleviate some of the housing demand issues that we've got at the moment. Might be helpful. Don't know.
I think it's just going to become a richer city anyway, where no one's going to be able to afford to live
No,
there.
it's true.
Yeah.
That definitely is going to happen.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I think personally, I feel there's going to be a little uproar of like discomfort for people when people start moving out.
Yeah.
I think because a lot of people now who live in East London tend to move to
further afield into sort of
Is it Essex? No.
Essex and beyond. So
Yeah, and then
going
people who live in South tend to go to like Kent and other places. So people are naturally gravitating a little bit further out and around
Yeah.
because of affordability of trying to be able to be first time buyers.
And
blah, blah, blah.
space. And
Yeah, for the amount of money that you spend
and being
in a
close to
box
work,
room.
if your workplace needs you to be close to work, living on the outskirts of the M25 means you can zoom in really quickly. But I don't know. I kind of envision that as people sort of spread out more from, as in ethnic minorities, as they spread out, that we'll see those sort of racist attacks, racist sort of slander and this and
However,
that. Yeah.
the next generation are going to be like us.
what do you mean?
So the next,
This generation that have taken over now, the Gen Zs, they ain't going to stand for none of this.
that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, as in they're going to live more peacefully. Like, see how we
Trust
live
me.
a little more peacefully than our parents do.
Trust me.
So this generation, whoever's going to move out, is going to feel that
From-
that
From
level of hate and
millennials
uncomfort.
forward,
Yeah.
because the millennials are were either the first or the the first generation that had readily internet available.
Yeah, 100%. They're born into the
They
internet.
are born. We are born.
Bruh, you're not, you're grownish.
I'm
Relax.
telling you right now.
We were the transition
I'm
of
telling
like
you
dial up
Yeah.
and,
telling you right now.
faxes
From
and
when I was
pages.
born, I'm a millennial.
Relax.
There's no discussion that needs to be made. No laughing and camera behind. I'm a millennial. I'm a millennial. Yeah. So basically, what happens is we saw Facebook and Twitter and everything come.
We had a humbling
But
transition.
now this next generation, trust me.
Straight from the womb, they'll be
They-
texting going, yeah, well gone, I'm good.
Think about it this way. When you're in this generation now for the Gen Zs and you
Yeah.
can phone your friend in Nigeria and it's on
And it's
WhatsApp.
a clear conversation. No.
How am
But isn't
I...
it funny how our parents are still screaming down the phone, hello?
Can you hear me?
It's like, bro,
Yeah,
it's
man.
clear.
You're doing FaceTime through WhatsApp. It's like, yeah, what's up, man?
With the forehead.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm great. No, this next
No,
generation.
the angle.
I
That
can't
angle.
wait. This next generation are going to make the world a better
But
place.
do you know what's also amazing about it is about that even the people who were, because you become a product of your environment, even subconsciously. So if you're raised in a very non-minority area, you inherit a level of ignorance and racism and fear of the unknown. But when you're that generation, you're exposed to it through the internet and you kind of want to just be part of it.
And this is why it comes back to my comment earlier about making sure diversity isn't considered a regional thing because of this
But I
reason.
think inevitably the internet will stop it. Whether you're on TikTok, a young kid who's very into like dancing, music, or just like
Yeah.
the lip syncing stuff, whatever it is, the memes.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like regardless, you're gonna mix. Even if your parents hate it, you're gonna mix.
Yeah.
Whether you're gonna mix virtually and then the next generation
Yeah,
then
bro.
integrate physically. I think we've got a long way to go, and I think racism will forever exist. But I think people are starting to fall off. And it sounds really sad, but you kind of want certain people to just fall off the planet so that the next generation come in.
I
Yeah.
think You want them to be educated.
No, there's certain uncles and aunties. It's game over.
Yeah,
You can't.
Education is the key.
They'll say something like, "Oh, I do like me a curry. That's as brown as I go." Like that's dead, isn't it?
No, just and then you
Or
can
they'll say,
educate.
I'm not racist. My neighbour's this.
But I ain't
But
black shades. Are you mad?
Education. That's why you educate.
Where?
no, but
So you
there's
educate.
Ben. There's certain
We've
people
tried,
who,
I've
no
tried.
matter how hard you try to educate them, they are unwilling because they are so firm in their beliefs.
And I feel
Are you
And
speaking from
I would
experience?
rather save my breath from arguing with an idiot and actually go impart that knowledge and education to someone who's
Who
more
genuinely
open-minded. So I'm not going to waste it on an idiot who's not willing.
Have you been in a position where you felt like you had to educate someone? And has it
no,
been successful?
I haven't been in a position to. So I can't speak on that.
Okay.
I can't speak.
Because I feel like even if you do and they're intrigued, it's like they'll still continue to be positively racist.
Oh no, I did no. So there was, funnily enough, I was with, I was out with a couple of friends, and there was this guy who was Polish, and he'd come over from Poland, and we were all just hanging out. I can't remember the situation or what friend it was, but he was talking to me, and after a while he said, "I have to stop. You're really cool." I said, "What do you mean?"
Oh, wow.
I said, no.
I'm
Hey,
expecting
listen.
the next line. Go.
No. He said, I just didn't. I've never talked to someone that's black, and I just thought you would just. And I was like, what were you expecting? But no, hold
It's
on.
cute though. It's
No,
cute.
but
That is
listen,
really cute.
but listen. From his perspective, he's grown up in Poland, where he's probably never been.
Yes, yeah.
he's
Never
been
seen someone.
put in front of someone who doesn't look like him.
100%.
That's not his fault.
No, that's
Yeah.
it. That's
So
it.
from his perspective, all he has maybe seen, if you think about what's portrayed in the media,
Yeah,
think about
negative,
what's portrayed
yeah.
in sitcoms, if you think about what's portrayed in, if he only sees Love and Hip Hop, where he sees people throwing glasses and throwing this and doing that and
Yeah.
doing this, then his perception of all people that look like that are violence or
Yeah.
So when he sees someone, and he said to me, "But you're just normal," I said, "Look around. We're all like this. We're all normal."
Yeah.
That's what I get when it comes to like someone finding out I'm Muslim. Oh, but you said you believe in the jihadi thing, and I have to like educate them and go, we don't believe in that. She's like, because you look pretty normal. You don't look like you do something like
What is normal?
Like, I won't just blow up buildings.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, do you know how many Muslims there are around you? Like, if we were really on this thing, that would be wiped out.
Yeah.
Like, if we were really on blowing up.
I had
like,
a really interesting conversation with someone once who it wasn't as in she was ignorant about something and she wanted to learn. So we were having a random conversation one day, and I mentioned that I'm divorced, and she was like, "Oh, but I didn't think Muslims women
can get divorced."
Yeah, Muslim women can get divorced, and I was like, "Huh?" Like
we're thrown in a basement forever.
yeah, and I literally had to pause for a second and go, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, no, because
Yeah, and she was like, I honestly thought you couldn't get divorced. And I was like, after I had a little laugh, I was like, please let me explain to you. Like, no, there is this capability. She goes, I honestly had no idea. And she goes, thanks for explaining it to me, because I wouldn't have known. And because I could ask you that question directly, like I felt comfortable enough to ask you that question directly. Now I know something that I never would have known before, and I had it misinformed.
I think that's the beauty. So there's a blessing and a curse to be that token Muslim or token brown person in the office or whatever it is you'll fall into, because you have an opportunity to educate people.
Yeah.
But it's so draining.
It's a big
to
responsibility.
have to keep going, okay, I have to school this person. This person now is going to take this fact and move it to their friend,
Yeah.
and then their friend, and it's going to be Chinese. So I need to make sure that I'm really educating them with facts and less in the ignorance. And I've made a change in this world on a very small spectrum, but it's jarring to have to always be asked. So, as Muslims, do you believe? And is it true? And it's just like, my sister wears a hijab, right? And someone said to her,
Yeah.
do you have hair under your hijab?
Oh, wow.
Have you seen your own hair? Like, could you sleep in this? Do you shower in this?
No, she's got friggin' what's that thing from Harry Potter on the back of her head?
I don't know what
Professor,
it is.
what is it?
Oh,
Quirrell. The nerds will know.
Yeah, we ain't nerds. I think he's
I love
slightly
Harry
annoying.
Potter.
No, but I remember the first time my family friend came over, and I don't know what she was wearing the veil.
The niqab.
What,
Yeah.
cover her face?
Face covering, yeah.
And I was young.
I call them ninjas.
I was Boris Johnson over here.
Oh,
That's letterbox.
Yeah, Bozza Jozza
So
was
we
the letterbox
were just
comment.
Ninjas.
we came in the house, and then she was able to take it off, and I was like, I didn't even know you were allowed to take it. I was young. I didn't know.
I thought you were going to say I didn't even know you had a face under
No.
there.
What, do you have no?
I wasn't
Full set
sure
of
that
teeth.
you were allowed to take it off.
No, so just again, quick clarity. The niqab, which is where you cover your nose or your full face, barring your eyes, that's not it's not a requirement.
It's
just-
optional.
It's an optional sort of thing that they think that the woman's beauty should be covered, and more times, fam, you're not that beautiful.
I have
It's not that
questions.
deep.
I have questions.
Yeah,
How'd
but
you-
some people don't take it off at all.
How'd you go through security in an airport?
You have to take it off. But that proves from when you go enter Saudi, the holy land, and you have to take it off. But you have to cover it. You can wear a hijab normally, but you have to show your face. That shows you if it was a holy land where you can't show, like you have to cover up. You can't wear the niqab out and about.
As in, you mean for Umrah and Hajj, so the pilgrimages that
Yeah.
we do in Saudi. If
Oh,
you look at the
I almost
requirements,
did that.
yeah, almost.
You
what?
wouldn't be able to.
You wouldn't have
enter.
been able to because they have a different section for
You
non-Muslims.
think so?
What, you went in with the
Man's
Muslims,
got
yeah?
connects,
No.
He'll enter the Muslim thing.
When I went to Saudi Arabia, I wasn't offered. I was like, I really want to do that, and I was talking to people that were going.
But
to do
they
it.
thought you were trying to revert. They'll just be like,
Yeah.
let's come, Ben.
You would have been taking
your name is
shahada.
Bilal now.
Imagine,
come,
my
come.
God, imagine he took Shahada right at Kaaba. That would have been beautiful.
That would have been sick.
That would have been
Wait,
sick.
what?
Don't worry.
Don't, it's cool.
They know. Even though you don't know. But I think just to sort of wrap it up, I think it's important for me, like the reason where we were going back and forth about what to choose as far as a name
Yeah.
for this podcast. And I think it was important to choose something that's very, I always spoke about being a third culture kid from like college days and how it stood out. So I felt like, do you know what, let's embrace the situation, and anything we speak about it, let's just root it back to that. And I think it's about taking that empowerment of laughing at ignorance,
Yeah.
educating people where possible, but also just like almost like dancing in the rain. It's just like,
Yeah.
it is what it is, man.
And we're celebrating who we are. And,
Yeah.
and who we are is
we're proud to be
a lot of
British.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of
It's a
things. We're
celebration,
British.
yeah.
We're from wherever culturally diverse places that we're from.
Yeah.
And we are really lucky to be in this generation where we're a really nice mix of it. Like
Right.
that our
I
identity
feel honoured
is
to be in this current climate.
It could
Yeah.
have been 20 or 30 years ago. We would have a completely different experience.
exactly.
It's amazing how
Completely
progressive
different.
we've become and how everything's just been.
Yeah, it's moved along a lot, but at the same time, we need to still.
There
see
is
more.
some way to go,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, there's always going to be a way to go to make it.
But I think that's a good way of looking at things, which is despite us taking so much, like I think despite there being ignorance still, we're still in such a pivotal place of growth. And I think to be part of that generation and to see it happening, like I'm here for it.
Yeah, man. For real.
On that note, you are watching Growing Up British. You got myself, I am Hebz.
You can find me on Keep It Fizz.
It's Ben of LDN.
Yes, so you can follow us on Instagram or you can subscribe to our channel, which will be somewhere around here. Ty knows what to do. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and all that jazz. Bye.